Sometimes it's not that the desire to communicate, to reach out, to maintain the bond is not there. It's just really that emotionally I'm so drained, socially I'm exhausted. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Emerge and Evolve podcast. It is my extreme pleasure and delight to welcome you once again to our second YouTube video ever, and the second video in our friendship series, but ultimately episode 11 of season 1. Welcome back here. Thank you for staying tuned so far. Thank you for subscribing, commenting, and just taking your time to listen to this beautiful woman speak. And if you're new here, you are welcome as well. This is a space for intentional growth and conversations that are relatable, vulnerable, inspiring, and all of that goodness. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button now and turn on notifications so you don't miss when we drop a new video. I am your host, Mary Ann, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to episode 11, which is titled Adulting and Friendships. Okay, so currently we're still in our friendship series, but this would be the second episode on friendship. And today, or rather, why this episode? I think that basically it's because adulting really has one of the biggest impacts on friendships. And if you stay tuned, like stay around, you would see why I'm making that statement. But I'm going to start by saying that I do not truly think that we were really prepared for what adulthood brings in friendships, or how adulthood can greatly impact our friendships. Because I have racked my brain, guys. I've racked my brain so much to see if before now I have had a knowledge that it wasn't always going to be rosy. And the earliest knowledge that I can actually find is, or that I can actually remember, is that there's this Yoruba proverb. And I'm not going to say it in Yoruba, I'm just going to say it in English, right? So that we can all understand. That says how that 20 children cannot work together for 20 years. And basically, what that means is that if there are a group of children, like even if you have a group of friends and there are 20 children, they cannot be together. They cannot all, be together or be that close for the next 20 years. Something will happen that will make them drift apart. They will go to different places and different areas and all of that. And I'm going to firstly start with, remember your childhood friend, your childhood bestie. Yes, the one who you could not wait to get to school so that you could gist them about everything that happened, or gist them about the gifts that your uncle got you. And all of a sudden they changed schools, or you moved away. Those were the beginning. But I still do not think that they truly prepared us for when the person that you cannot wait to talk to, the person whom you're having conversations late into the night, the person whom, when any big thing happens to you, big and small, they are the first person that you want to tell. And all of a sudden you are working in different cities, maybe even different continents, and there is just that divide. Imagine that you're not in the same time zone. I would know that you would agree with me that the dynamics of that friendship would have to change. The dynamics of knowing that what the time that is comfortable for this person to speak might not be the time that is comfortable for the other person to speak. So you see, those things truly, really, really impact our friendship. So between careers, relationships, yes, because somebody who has just had a baby, your friend who has just had a baby, cannot show up to brunch in the same way that you would expect that they would have previously been able to. So there are different dynamics of life, depending on the fact that we can really be in different stages of life that impact on friendships. And now, the reason why this topic truly matters is because there is a tendency to be very lonely in adulthood. Many adults suffer from loneliness, especially if you live alone. If you live alone, you would relate to the fact that sometimes, I mean, there's so much beauty in living alone, right? But sometimes there's just that pang of coming home to an empty house. But aside that, it's really about the fact that many times, if it's not maybe the people that we work with, there can be a sense of loneliness of before you are able to plan a date with your friend, You guys have to look at each other's calendars. You have to schedule it. The popular joke of how that the outing finally left the group chat, right? Because we truly know the stress that it takes. How the outing might have been planned for the past 6 months, and just because one person is not available or one or two people are not available, truly, um, we cannot truly meet. But in the last episode, we really talked about why friendships are valuable and important for human life. So it's not something that we can take away alone. It's not something we can remove, and we cannot truly do life alone. We can't isolate. So we need friendships. Even adults need friendship. Whether you're in a relationship or not, you have a romantic partner, you are married, there is still always that sense or need of friendship. The next thing that we're going to address is why. And I think like it's very important to say this because many times I found that sometimes people don't understand. They don't understand that friendship grows, friendship changes, and friendship evolves through the different seasons of life. So one of the things that comes with adulting is that your friendships are going to change. They are going to evolve, and that's the reason why they can be such a drift or such a divide. And it's important to talk about this. That why do our friendships change? Why do our friendships evolve? And you see, the first thing that I would say would be life transitions and evolving priorities, right? I already started explaining that by saying that you cannot expect that, oh, let's say your friend who was your roommate in the university, you guys could see each other as many times as you wanted to. But all of a sudden, they transitioned out of that phase. Say probably you are still living in school and they are working in another state, that dynamic would be different. Their priorities at this point in time could be very different. So you see, it was easy in teenagehood, it was easy in childhood to maintain friendships. To some certain extent, it was easy because you guys had a level of either you were seeing in school or you saw after you were back from school or you saw at church. There was just something that brings you guys together. In adulthood, friendships really have to be intentional. You are not going to be able to maintain a friendship in adulthood unless it's something that's a priority to you, because you have a lot on your plate: work, your family, your priorities, your career, your children. There are many things that could take up that space and just not leave room for friendships. So there has to be a certain degree of level of intentionality that you are approaching friendship with. And another thing that's very popular is the fact that you're in different life phases. And I already said that. But I want to address this popular thing of, oh, like when, in a friend group, like when a friend gets married, there is this tendency of you just drifting away from your friends. Like, in fact, it's something that is annoying when you're a single person, right? It's something that is annoying that you're like, so now that you have a husband, we don't matter anymore. But you see, as important as it is to strike a balance, that you should not neglect your friends because you are now married, right? It is still, you still have to understand that they are now in a different life phase and they have a demanding priority that they need to pay attention to, which can take up the space for friendship if they are just not intentional about it. And the last thing that I would say, which is something that I have experienced over and over again, is emotional bandwidth and social energy. You guys, this is so big because sometimes it's not that the desire to communicate, to reach out, to maintain the bond is not there. It's just really that emotionally I'm so drained, socially I'm exhausted. So you cannot expect that somebody has had a long day and all they want to do is do the things that need to be done, right? Like let's say chores, and just get to sleep. Those dynamics are truly different. So that's one of the things that really wears on many adults, that when you come back from work, it's hard to now start saying that you want to start, texting somebody. But this was, the same person who you would have late night conversations with. In fact, into the morning conversations. All of these things, what eventually happens is that there are unspoken expectations and there is a break in communication. Because I would say that you can navigate friendship well if there is understanding. Understanding of the fact that it's not like this person is not intentional about me. If they're not replying, I will drop a follow-up message and say, I left you a message, you've not seen it. Have you been busy? Kindly check. Like, do you understand? But where the divide begins to happen, or where you can now begin to enter offense, is when you are upset at the fact that they are not reaching out, when there are unspoken expectations. So because this is friendship, it's supposed to be a safe space, you should communicate, especially if you're in a crazy season of life. You should say, I'm sorry, things are really crazy right now. I'm sorry that, I've been missing your messages. That's not been intentional. I would do better. I just haven't found time. Okay, you could explore another means of communication. Could you preferably call me at so time? I think I would be more receptive, or more open to communicate that way. So we really need to communicate our expectations. And also, no matter how busy you are, you have to understand that friendship takes intentionality. So be intentional enough to create space for your friend. And I'm also going to say that it depends on how well you communicate. So you can be busy, I can be busy, my friends may be busy, but if I say, hey, we need to talk, I'm sorry, I know many people don't like hearing the we need to talk, or like, just a little bit, when will you be free, I really need to talk to you. Those kind of messages draw attention, and then we can fix a time and get to see. So there has to be that level of intentionality. And when it truly comes to intentionality, another thing that will play a role is really the types of friendship. Your inner circle people, no matter how busy that you are, you need to make space for them, right? You just really need to find a system that works for you both. But you see, there are some friends that are distant friends, not distant in the sense of maybe physical distance, maybe just we don't talk a lot of time, but we catch up when we need to. So you also need to understand that there are different categories of friends. And one thing that I've spoken to a lot of people have issues with in friendships is, oh, she doesn't text first, I have to text her first. She doesn't respond until I text her first. One thing I always tell people is that sometimes you need to have a conversation and know what type of friendship is this. Because personally, for me, as an adult, I have many things that I give my time to, right? And if I'm going to give my time to a person, it is, I also, there are, because time is such a valuable asset. So there are certain friendships that I would prioritize time. In fact, there's this popular thing that, oh, they're not too busy to reply you, they're just too busy for you. And I would not exactly say that I agree to it, right? But I would definitely say that we make time for what we consider priority. And I'm not saying that your friendship, all types of friendships are a priority, but where they range on the scale of priority differs. So you also need to have an understanding of that, and also apportion time understanding that. How really do we navigate this? How do we navigate, friendships, despite understanding the reasons why these things happen? We still don't want to lose our loved ones, our cherished ones. We still want to feel connected. We still don't want to live life isolated, and we still want to have that, degree and sense of connection. So for me, what works for me is intentionality over frequency. And I would say this another way: quality over quantity, right? You may not necessarily be able to speak as many times as you normally do. And that's why we started from understanding that you must understand that the dynamics have changed. And both parties must understand. Otherwise, one party will be upset and frustrated that the dynamics are not the same as they have been doing. So they think that, oh, this person has just changed since she got a new job, she changed. Since she got married, she's now too busy for me. But you need to understand that the dynamics cannot be the same. Going forward, what you need to do is to now find systems that allow you to communicate, right? So one of the things I do is that I really prioritize quality over frequency. So it's not the frequency of times that we speak, it is the quality of our relationship. Are there big things happening in your life that I don't know about? No matter how busy I am, if you tell me that you just got engaged, I will make time to have a conversation and have gist and about everything. If you tell me that you are getting married, we would find time to pray, we would find time to plan together and all of that. So it's the quality that, even when you may not be necessarily speaking as frequently as you used to, you must ensure that the tone and the quality of a friendship does not drop. So that works differently for different people. Maybe you need to schedule going out, you need to schedule dates. Probably before, you were not somebody that needed to. I mean, you could just pop by. I had friends who have key to my apartment. I can just come on Monday and see them in my house, right? We don't need to schedule anything because there was that ease. But now you understand that you are different life phases. So one of the systems that can work is putting schedules. Let's meet, and sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you replan. Okay, that's very important. You have to schedule check-ins. There has to be times that you're checking in. No matter how busy you are, if you're lying down at night and a thought of your friend just comes to your mind, drop a message. It may not necessarily, and that's one thing that we have to know, that it may not be that they have to be present in this time while you guys are communicating. Technology has made communication easier, but it has also made us, over dependent, and we don't really see that. Just a little message of, hi, I've been praying for you. How are you doing? How's work? How's your family? Are you sure you're okay? I mean, it just came to my mind. You know, those things go a long way. They will see it and know that you actually have them in mind. So it still creates a connection, a bridge, right? If you are doing something big, you know, if and one of the things that works for me is I take pictures and I send, right? We may not get to talk all the time, but if I just take one picture, I'll just, just send and say, hi. Like, those things are just, you are keeping the emotional fire going. The next thing I will say is express interest. If they are doing something big, be interested, show care, and also communicate. Communicate your capacity at this point in time. Babe, I'm sorry, I have an exam. I may not be able to respond to messages as much as I can. But don't worry, you can call me, you can leave text, I'll respond to them whenever I can. But I just want to communicate that it may not be as frequent. You have to, keep that communication. You have to keep that communication going. It's important to know what friendship season that you are in. Okay, friendships evolve, and that is very okay. That is very okay. And you have to understand it. You have to work around it. And you have to ensure that you don't use adulting as an excuse to treat your friends badly. Because we also understand that adulting is a lot. It's a whole lot. So you need people who are going to support you every step of the way, people who are going to hold you up. And that's why this is very important. So I'm just going to leave you with this, that going forward, I want you to take three of your friends that you've not really been in touch with. Text them, let them know that you care. Just reach out and check on them. This thing will probably not take 3-4 minutes. Reach out and check on them. Find out, can we schedule a time to talk? What's been going on with you? Ask questions about their lives. Ask questions about what's been going on with you. What project are you working on now? How is work? How is, those things really go a long way. They seem like little tips, but these are the things that keep friendship. The last thing I would actually say, which is something I had to learn by experience, is that make room for new friendships. Okay? There is that tendency that the people that in fact, I'm not going to say that tendency, I have that habit of saying, oh, the people I was already friends with, I wanted to keep my friends, but I was in a different space, in a different city, and my friends were not present. So I needed somebody physically around, and I just didn't have that. So one of the things you need to also do is to make room for new friendships in your space, in your workspace, friendships whereby there are common things that are bringing you together, even whilst you are maintaining the old friendship. I actually hope that this episode has resonated with you and you've been able to pick one or two things from this episode. So, until the next episode, keep evolving. And I also want you to comment how adulting has impacted your friendship, the culture shock that you had, and just the experiences. If your friendship has ended because you guys were too busy to respond to each other or anything, I want to hear about it. So I'll be reading your comments. Until next time, keep evolving. I remain your host, Mary Ann, and see you next time. Bye.